Hello, this is The Side Show, and I'm Theodore Parker, and today is Tuesday, August the 16th, 2022. Around here, the temperature will go up to about 81 today. It's been pleasantly mild, not like a burning heat, but still summertime. Excuse me. Still advocate wearing the mask. And also in the news, there was an item that there have been 7 children that have contracted monkeypox. So, with all that being said, several contagious diseases the public has been made aware of all at one time. To urge a little caution. We're not, the CDC is not actually advocating social distancing at this time, but if you have any doubts, then as I said previously, give your physician's office a call. As you notice in the background, I don't have a lot of like bookcases and memorabilia and other things that advocate the background that you see on most shows similar to this. But I did want to discuss with you briefly the idea of Googling it. Previously, when I Googled Theodore Parker, it would reference, I believe, a theologian from the 1800s, early 1800s, and went on and on with material about him. So I decided to Google Theodore Parker or the sideshow with Theodore Parker and got a hit. And it came up before the Theodore Parker, the theologian. So I said, well, all right then. So it describes, the program on YouTube and also on Facebook with a link to both. So I kind of went in on Facebook and tried to look at some numbers and things of that nature, but Facebook didn't really have a viewing audience number per se. And on Google, when the show is put up Monday to Friday, I have one viewer, one subscriber. So hats off to that one viewer. Applause to that one viewer. Now, of course, I know that can't be correct because I look at the show myself just to critique it and to make sure that I'm presenting the material the way that I want to put it across. So that would make 2 viewers, but who's to say how they calculate things? But the demographic audience, once again, is from 18 to 65. I believe it's globally on Facebook and also on YouTube. So if you have friends or anybody else that might be interested and you say Google it, which is the most used search engine by the public, then you can do that. The Sideshow with Theodore Parker or Theodore Parker's The Sideshow. And it will come up. As far as Facebook is concerned, their numbers kind of reflect a little differently as well. They do show my likes, and on both apps, Google and Facebook, you can like, comment, and subscribe. So in the instance of Facebook, they show my likes per month, but I'm not able to get much more information than that. And I do have a Texas Instrument scientific calculator, but the algorithm as to how they calculate their numbers and statistics related to the program still escapes me. So it's probably the same way they calculate the pay for doing this program, if I might say so. Yes. But anyway, hats off to Google, YouTube, Facebook for airing the program, and to you as an audience for listening, taking a few minutes out of your day, however you schedule it, on the weekend and catch all 5 shows, or catch it during the day or evening whenever your schedule allows. That's why I try to keep it to a few minutes. And as is advertised, this is the news in a manner in which you do not receive in regular content. So again, Google it. Theodore Parker's The Sideshow, or The Sideshow with Theodore Parker. Check the results. Yesterday, which I didn't find out until after I came off the air, was National Relaxation Day, which I had to employ several times. And hopefully, this, what I'm about to say now, will not reflect adversity on anybody else. Used Google to go out, used Lyft to go out yesterday, Uber, Lyft, ride-share service, and went to the Walmart and was waiting for my return ride. And the driver pulled up in front of the Walmart. As you know, Walmart is a complex. Wherever you at, it is the largest retailer in the country, if not worldwide. And instead of the driver pulling up to where the door was, whether it's pharmacy or grocery, he pulled up in the middle section where merchandise is displayed. So I had to wave to him and invite him up to where I was at the door. And I got in, I said, well, most times people, picking up people come to one of the doors. So he said, well, my Google map said do this. And so I stopped there and everything. So again, I'm like, okay. Because a lot of times you have to listen to people just so you can derive or perceive where their perception level is. So once he said he was down there by the wall and I had to wave him up, I said, well, sir, there are no doors there. There are no doors along that wall. And if you're picking up somebody, it would seem that you would want to go to one of the doors. So then I reminded him that yesterday was National Relaxation Day, not to worry about it. I was glad he showed up and I'm on my way home, so all is good. How about that one? A couple of things I wanted to cover today. And if you've seen any documentaries, at one time they were running documentaries on some of the rap and hip hop groups in the 90s, early 2000s, et cetera, et cetera. And I think recently there was one done on Wu-Tang Clan. Now, at the time the Wu-Tang Clan was hot and heavy, I was not a fan. I did not become aware of them until later on. There are 9 members of the group, but some of the entertainment names, or names that they use for purposes of entertainment, kind of made my eyebrows rise, such as Ghostface Killer. And without going into too much detail, 9 members, because if you look at the documentary, everybody's life took a turn in somewhat of a different direction. Some served prison time and so forth and so on. So that being said, they hail from Staten Island, which most New Yorkers, if you hear about New York, Bronx, Brooklyn, et cetera, et cetera. But Staten Island is where they hail from. So they were giving credit to Staten Island. But the reason I wanted to comment on it, earlier, there was another piece, which I won't go into, related to the Wu-Tang Clan, but how they came across with the name and things of that nature was what I wanted to touch on. They liked Kung Fu. And at the time, and I do remember this, even as a resident of Kentucky for over 20 years, that they the genre for Kung Fu movies was just really hitting big in the theaters. And I was a regular fan and I was going myself. So they took the name Wu-Tang Clan. But the story behind it is that General Don, went to Wu-Tang Mountain. General went to Wu-Tang Mountain to meditate. And he spent several years there and kind of got away from the population and thought about mankind and the way life goes and everything else like that. and finally just took a jump off the mountain. But as the Chinese story goes, he never fell all the way down. So that was like a motto or a holding point for Wu-Tang Clan. So I just wanted to kind of share that little story. And the other story about him that I really like is that when they were, as so many artists and entertainers do, in that period of their career where they are struggling and trying to get somebody to pay them, one of the people that they were interviewed with said, well, it's 9 of you. How are you going to distribute the money? How are you going to see 9 people getting paid? So one of the members of the Wu-Tang Clan spoke up and said, well, why are you worried about how we going to distribute the money? Which I thought was a stroke of genius. You know, if you give it to us, we'll work it out. So from time to time in movies and different other things like that, you will see members of the Wu-Tang Clan featured or cameo appearances such as that. So hats off to Wu-Tang Clan. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was John Fitzgerald Johnson. And this is, again, a Kentucky point. John Fitzgerald Johnson, a resident of Ohio, back during the protests, better known as Grandmaster Jay, had a militia group, or was leader of a militia group, prior to his being charged and put under house arrest in Ohio, waiting his court date, which he has had recently. And part of that protest was related to Breonna Taylor and took place at one of the racetracks here in Kentucky. So in the process of this happening, nightfall came up and there were some law enforcement officers up on top of the building, excuse me, and Grandmaster Jay, after leading and organizing and keeping things in order all day long, used the scope of his rifle to see who was on top of the roof. I imagine it may have been a flashlight attached, I'm not sure. So subsequently from this, he was charged with threatening federal agents or whatever the case may be. And a lot of charges came down where he was put under house arrest for waiting the court date. So the court date has come forward. Subsequently, people in the community, notably some of those associated with Breonna Taylor protests, have stepped up to protest his treatment. And in this case, I agree. Because if they were going to do anything, speaking of law enforcement, they had all day with all those people that had rifles and arms and everything else to step in, disperse the group, tell them they couldn't assemble or anything else. Why wait until nighttime? And because he wants to check the roof following his military training with his scope, claim he's aiming, about to shoot somebody, and so forth and so on like that. So to me, that's kind of bogus. And my precedent for it, which is on my timeline, is that you had the Black Panthers in Oakland. The first time they walked around with shotguns unloaded in public, that caused a stir, but they also were having feeding programs, school programs, things of this nature going on as well. So on this issue with John Fitzgerald Johnson, Grandmaster Jay, I disagree on those charges. I don't think he should have been charged with any of that because they had all day to take care of it, disperse the crowd. You know, if they did not want them to assemble there, why single him out for that? And because he was checking the roof, which anybody would do under those circumstances, charge him with all of those federal allegations. So that's my take on that. This is Tuesday, August 16, 2022. If you get a phone call, folks, please return the phone call. You know, with so many rampant diseases and stuff going on, we have to support one another. We have to check on one another. We have to be aware of one another. We don't have to have all that social elbow rubbing type thing, but we can use the phone. And in this day and age, almost everybody has a cell phone. It's no longer a luxury, it is almost a necessity. That's it. Hashtag.